Hey everybody, this is Renee from The Space Between, and you are listening to The Space Between podcast, the show that lets you listen to how the fans feel about the music, the art behind over 30 years of the Dave Matthews Band. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week I bring on a new fan to talk about their journey with the Dave Matthews Band. In 2024, we celebrate 33 years with this band that we all love, so that means there are 33 years worth of stories out there. And with the Dave Matthews Band only having 35,000 fans, that is my mission, is to collect 35,000 stories. So I'm well on my way. And so today I have another Dave Matthews Band fan on to tell us his voyage with the band. So thank you so much for being on the show. Tell us who you are, and where in the world did you hear about this band, the Dave Matthews Band?
Sure thing. So my name is Travis Hyde. I currently live in Cincinnati, Ohio. So Riverbend would be my home venue, even though they're not going there this year.
Shame.
Yeah, I kind of saw the writing on the wall, but
oh, did you?
yeah, it's all right. So my introduction to Dave, as probably was many people, in the 90s, I remember hearing What Would You Say in particular on the radio, and I thought it was cool.
Sure.
And Ants Marching, So Much to Say, Too Much, all that sort of stuff. I liked it all right. I wasn't quite, to the point I am now with it, obviously. Yeah. I did largely write them off as kind of a, the little hillbilly country adjacent.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. And so I've heard about people getting really into them. But, I didn't go down that route. In my earlier years, I was and I still am. I listen to a lot heavier music. In the 90s, I loved me some Metallica. I got really big into Tool, Primus, all that sort of stuff. Just really into it. And I grew up as a musician myself.
Awesome.
I played the piano. Not as actively as I wish I did, but big Buddy Strong fan here. It just was a big snob for the heavier stuff and never really got into it. And getting into college, I was really getting into Nine Inch Nails. That is, still to this day, I love them dearly. The Fragile, one of my favorite albums ever written. I know that's the one from '99, but
gotcha.
So that does tie into what my story with Dave, surprisingly enough. So when I was going to college, I went to college in Texas, where I'm originally from. And
which college?
So I started at Texas Tech.
Yes. Yes. The Red Raiders, right?
The Red Raiders.
Is that right? Ooh.
Yep. Correct. Well done.
I'm from Texas. It wasn't too much of a reach for me to come up with that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But I finished college where I actually believe Jeff Coffin got his master's at the University of North Texas.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. I had moved there. And I had a bunch of friends and all that, but I was needing roommates, and I had made friends with, somebody from just connected through old high school friends and all that sort of stuff. And we, somehow ended up being roommates. And this was back in the days of AOL Instant Messenger.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah.
That was like the coolest thing, right? It was at the time. So cool. Totally got a message.
Yep.
Such a big deal to hear that sound, right? I can remember that sound.
Yep. Yep. And so this guy and I, his name's Scott, still one of my best friends to this day. He and I realized that each other really loved music. And so it was important that we start sharing music. And I think at this point in time, we were using, I don't know if we were using iTunes or we were using something and sending each other MP3 files because that's what you did back then.
Right.
Back in the
back
old
in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the olden days.
Yeah. So at this point, Nine Inch Nails is my favorite. And he's like, well, Dave Matthews Band is my favorite. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh
Okay.
dear.
Yeah.
Is this gonna work?
Yeah. I was like this. But he really, really had a passion for him. And I was, but I'll give anything a try to a fault at some point.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But I sent him some Nine Inch Nails stuff, and he absolutely loved it. And I was like, well, the guy who loves Dave Matthews Band really loves this. That's okay. I guess I need to do the same.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the first few songs he sent me were, so this was 2000. I want to say 2004, 2004 or 5. Oh yeah, it was 2005, right before Stand Up came out. And he was sending me stuff mostly from Crowded Streets. So I think one of the first songs he sent me was Halloween, because he was like, you like the heavier stuff, you want.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and I was like, whoa, what on earth? Yeah.
Totally different Dave Matthews Band than what you thought you knew, right?
Yeah. I was like, this guy's growling. What's going on here?
Yes. Yes.
This gets wild. So I was receptive to it. And I know early on he sent me Two Step and all that stuff. And I was liking it. So it's funny. I do remember though, one of the songs he early on sent me that is not a song that, most any of us at this point admit we like, because it's very taboo in the community to say we like I Did It.
I mean, I like it. I'll go on record by saying it too.
There you go. Okay, good for you. I mean, to each their own. Yeah.
I mean, I love that song.
Yeah, it's a fun song, but I get why he sent me that, because it's a rock song. It's a fairly straightforward electric guitar and all that. And he did warn me. He's like, this isn't like everything else, but I was like, oh, this is super cool. So 83 shows later, and I still have not seen that song. So.
Oh yeah, I don't think a lot of people have. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the hub or the almanac pulled up, but like, do you know when the last time that was played?
I think it was played in the mid 2010s, like 2014.
Wow, so it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't
wonder why. Why, Dave? Why?
I wonder why on a lot of those, but
it's we definitely need to sit down with Dave and the boys just to get some things cleared out, right? Like we're not saying anything of how to do your job. We just need some answers on why you came out with some great songs and why we never get to hear it.
Why hasn't Snow Outside been played in 5 years?
I mean. I don't know. I'm sure there's got to be a reason, and I want to know.
I would not hate knowing that myself.
We'll try.
Yeah.
So it started with college roommates. So that kind of progressed.
Stereotypical with that.
Yeah. I think that's pretty normal.
So what happened then was this was 2005, and both Nine Inch Nails and Dave Matthews Band were touring, as Dave always does, and Nine Inch Nails hadn't done in a while, but they had a new album that came out that year with Teeth, and they were touring for that. And so he and I made a deal. I will go to see Dave Matthews Band with him if he will go to see Nine Inch Nails with me.
I think that's fair.
And it was. And both of us left with, at the time, our second favorite band. After doing that. My first show was in Dallas at the Coca-Cola Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages Supercenter.com Gexa whatever thing now.
Whatever it was.
It was then, and they played. It's funny though, because like he had been mostly introducing me to. He said, just focus on the album Crash, because that's the one that you're most likely to hear the most things from. And funny thing. They played a grand total of 0 songs from Crash that night.
Never know.
Yeah, Drive In, Drive Out was actually even on the set list and didn't get played.
That's kind of disappointing. I mean, I don't know where you were in your fanship at that point, like if you knew about that song, but looking back, I'm sure you were probably like, damn.
I felt, on paper, I feel like I should have felt ripped off, but I'm getting just goosebumps right now thinking back to it, because I specifically remember exactly when I was like, holy shit, I'm hooked.
Ooh, what was it?
They did the classic Nancy's Warehouse combo. And I was just like at the, the everyone singing dance la 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 hey moment. I was like, what's going on?
Yes.
the end jam of Warehouse and Boyd going nuts on the Nancy's solos, and just I was mind blown. But then even kind of taking it a step further, the other song of the night that just I was like, this is something special here. They played American Baby Intro. And Dave screaming his guts out, and the fire dancer lit up behind him and all that sort of stuff. I was like, this is surreal. And
yes.
It was
my God.
It was at that point I knew. I was like, well, I'm going to be doing this a lot.
Yeah. And that was 2005. Is that what?
2005. Yeah.
2005.
Yeah. My first show, they played like 8 or 9 songs from Stand Up. Which historically not my favorite album, but it does have some things from it that I think really hit well. So
for sure,
I guess they did the right ones for me then. So
yeah. So you said you're how many shows deep now?
83.
83. So you're really saying that this band hooked you, because I mean, no one goes to see a band 89 times if you're not just absolutely in love with everything that they're doing. I mean, you've got to see the evolution of the band going in as early as you did. You've seen, people in and out. And so what are your thoughts on the evolution of the band? Are there some parts of the original band that you miss? And what do you think about the current present day band?
So, no, those are very interesting and fun questions I could talk a lot about. Okay, so let's do it. So I played the viola.
Yes.
Cousin of the violin. And in all honesty, I know I'll get hate for this, but I'll come out and say it. Boy, it's sloppy. And
you're the second person to say this on that show. So you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whoever said it previously, I 1,000% agree with. He was fun. Whenever he cared, he brought a great energy that I loved. Seeing, Dave and him circling each other, looking into his eyes with, that could be really fun. And when he had his moments, they were really good. But he was often out of tune and just all these, and just, he got so sloppy and lazy. And I was just like, I feel like, so it kind of, whenever he ended up leaving, I was like, darn, I wasn't that upset, especially when I went to because I went to the first couple of Buddy Strong shows in Texas.
Yes.
I was still living there at the time, and I remember that first show in Houston where Buddy came out, and and I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And I was, by the end of the show, me and my buddy Scott, at one point we kind of looked at each other and we were like, Boyd, who?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they both have energy, right? But like different kinds of energy. And so Buddy's been amazing.
Buddy has been absolutely incredible. I love the energy and everything he brings. I do think there was a period of time where he was a little heavy on the organ stuff. And I'm glad that I think they probably took notes and dialed some of that back. Lie in Our Graves doesn't have to be an organ solo song.
Right.
But I feel like he has really found his place and voice with them. And just absolutely, I'm a big Buddy Strong. And I think this incarnation of the band is, absolutely love it. So
it's wild to think, if we, not that we can compare this band with really any other band, but if you just look at like band structure, there's not a lot of bands that can be better than they ever were in the 33rd year, right? Like, first of all, there's not a lot of bands that can last 33 years, but the fact that this band, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, but in my opinion, is the best they've ever been, is wild to me, right? Like wild, but it also makes sense musically, right? Like, because,
Mhm.
and you can maybe speak to this as a musician, I think it's skill, right? Like, it's an
Yes.
art, it's something that you learn, and it's something that you can get better at with time. And
Yep.
obviously that's what everyone in this band has had, is a lot of time to really become masters at what they do. And I'll even go as far to say that Dave's voice has even gotten better
Oh,
with
Dave's voice
time.
is definitely better. I like it a little deeper
Mm-hmm.
and aged. I his
Yes.
the early, especially Under the Table,
Yes.
his voice, Under the Table. I love any song they play from that live, pretty much, with the exception of Love or Lay Down. Uh, that that's I'm not calling it a bathroom song, but and I know Jeff does Pretty Things on it now and all that,
Oh,
but
yes. Yes.
Lover, come on. um,
Right.
I try not to be that person, but
Of course.
yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, I feel like his voice in a live sense is so much stronger than it was back then.
I
So
really agree with that. And it's funny because I almost I find myself being defensive. Like, if I have someone in my car, which honestly I don't really hammer on the Dave Matthews Band. If I have someone in my car that I know is clearly like not into, like, I know, like, maybe a friend that I know is not into it or whatever. But from time to time, of course, Dave comes on the radio unplanned, right? Like, you can have it
yeah.
on the 90s channel and Dave pops on or whatever, especially on the 90s channel. And so
Mhm.
music will come on from the early 90s. And I almost find that I need to defend them by going, oh, well, this was him in the 90s. Like,
Yeah.
he sounds completely different now, right? Like, not that it was bad, but
Yeah.
to me, it got better with time. And I would say that everyone has. Not that Carter has ever been bad, but he's increased his skills because he's had more time and experience
Yeah.
and all of those things, and learn new tricks, because I know that these guys, even though they're masters,
Mhm.
they like to play with other musicians. And when you play with other musicians, right, you can pull things from them and learn new techniques,
Mhm.
or whatever. And so, I mean, as a musician yourself,
Yeah.
do you kind of agree with that, like, the more you kind of baby your talent and explore other people that may have those same talents, you can grow as a musician?
Yes. So I will even go so far as to say, like I said, clearly I'm a Buddy Strong fan, and I just that's the energy and life that he brought to the band. I will go so far as to say the best thing that ever happened to the band was getting Rashawn Ross with him.
That's
Um,
a strong statement, but I love that because I love
it,
him so much.
yes, and that's coming from the super musician side of me, seeing what he has done and the influence he has had, and I'll be perfectly honest, like the most respect I've had for anyone in that band. My first time ever to be in the pit for a show, was actually only a couple of years ago at the 2021 Gorge,
Oh,
on
awesome.
night three. Well, whenever they were, Carter and Stefan weren't there. Um,
Oh, yes.
the busiest man on that stage was Rashawn Ross. I was standing right in front of him, watching him give cues to Tony on bass, and even, like, throwing out to Buddy when he was on drums. He
Yeah.
was directing that whole show. Uh,
Wow.
and and just the influence that he has had on everything. I mean, it may not be true, but I speculate that he has had the most positive influence on their growth as musicians in the band.
Yeah, no, I love that statement. And I want to say, obviously, I don't know everything about the Dave Matthews Band, but I
Sure.
have heard other people say that uh, Rashawn has some kind of experience like that, like in managing people, right? Or like producing people, right? Or like whatever the word is. But so I think that is a skill that he has outside of being a musician, but like in
Yeah.
the business, he can organize and tell people when and do all of those things. So, each one of them have so many hidden talents that we don't even know about, because who would have thought, I didn't know, I don't know if you knew, but who would have ever thought that Buddy could have filled in, I say that in quotation marks,
Yeah.
for Carter, right? Like, who
No,
knew?
I remember that night one, whenever they were playing Buddy on keyboard, everyone in the band except for Carter and Stefan. And then, Dave says to the crowd, is like, well, how about we just have Buddy Strong go play drums since he can do everything? And we all laughed.
Yeah, because we thought it was a joke, right?
And Buddy starts walking over to the drums, and we were all like, "What is going on here? This is wild!"
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
he just, I was so impressed with him that day. I mean, that whole weekend was amazing, and he very much salvaged. I'm not sure they
Yeah.
could have done what they did, or even made it close to as good as they did without him. I will say though,
Or,
I mean, Robert Randolph being there that weekend was also amazing. So
oh yeah. I mean, what a great year when it could have been. It had the makings to kind of be a disappointment
yeah,
for so many fans going, but instead of that point of view, I look at it as a once in a lifetime opportunity to get
exactly.
to see things that have never happened before. So how
Yeah,
fortunate you were to be there, right?
yeah.
Like that's how I feel about it.
I mean, if it's hard to say here's my definitive top five, favorite live moments of the band ever, especially when you've seen them as much as I have, and I'm guessing you have as well.
Well,
Um,
not as
uh,
many as you.
oh, you'll get there.
Unless we're counting couch tour, and then I've been to a million.
Oh, yeah. I count sort of fair amount, yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but just that closing on night two when they had the Randolph band out there and they did "I Want to Take You Higher" by, I think that's a Sly original.
Uh-huh.
Just one of just the energy and everybody there. I just was like, oh,
Right. Yeah.
this.
You could feel it. You can
Yes.
feel that energy. And that's amazing. Like when it can get, and that's a thing that music can do for so many people. And why I think it's a hook for so many people is because it's not just for your ears, it's for your
Mhm.
heart, it's for your soul. Like you can feel it. You get goosebumps, right? Like your
Yep.
body has a reaction to this music. And I love other people that get that same
Mhm.
feeling from
Yep.
music because it sounds crazy until it has happened to you, until
Yep.
you've had that connection. And then you're like, it's a chase for it to happen again. Right. And that's
Yep.
something that I can always get from the band
Mhm.
every time. And even sometimes on songs that surprise me, like, yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of that song. And then you hear it and they
Mhm.
play it a little bit different and you're like, oh shit, I really
Yeah.
love that version of that song. Right. So it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So let's talk about the community. So obviously you were introduced to this band by a friend. Now,
Yep.
is this friend still part of your life, or was that just a
Oh,
college
yes,
relationship? Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So he and I got to do a very special thing for us last year. Uh, as it's a rite of passage of the proper pilgrimage to go to the gorge.
Yes.
And that is something that we always, we had talked about, and it was like, wouldn't it be cool if, we got to do this together? And we finally did it together last year.
Wow. So what do you think? I want a full report because everybody has a different thing. Like, so
So that was
what
that
did
was
you
my
like?
third gorge.
Okay. Okay. That was
Yeah,
your third time, but first time together.
our first time together. Yeah, and
Gotcha.
it was
Okay.
just unbelievably special. We did it. You may have heard of the Gorge Charter Bus Group.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I've never been on it, but I've heard.
Okay, so I know there are some people that will say, camping is the only way to go. No,
I will disagree.
yeah. The way that I like to do it is with just, and this is, and I've made amazing friends, friends for life vibe type of people
Yeah.
that, I've seen at, all the shows that I went to after it. And, you always have a great friend there, but that is the way I do it. They bus us back and forth from the hotel in Ephrata each day. We get to go, and in the morning I like to, because I'm an East Coast person, so
Oh yeah. Yeah.
my internal clock is wired to be up early. But
Right.
guess what's there aren't people in the hot tub at the hotel at
5
at,
a.m.
at 5 a.m. And I'm very enthusiastic, energetic, all that fun stuff it shows, and
Uh-huh.
so it takes a toll on your feet.
Oh, it
But
does.
being able to spend the morning in a hot tub with foot jets
Mm.
rejuvenating you, and then go have a continental breakfast after a hot shower, and
That you didn't have to cook.
that I did not have to cook.
Look at that.
Yeah, and around 100 of some of the greatest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
big call out to Tim Mason and Patty, and Eric Hoberline and all those folks that run it. Just amazing people. And I've already, I'm definitely doing the Gorge that way this year, and we're also doing an Alpine bus this year. So
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah,
Oh,
so
I love that. And I'm glad that you bring that up because there are so many options when it comes to how you do a concert, right? Like you would
yeah,
think there's one way. You go, you tailgate in your car, and then you go to a show and you leave. No, no, no. That's just one way, right? But there are multiple ways that and a bus, who doesn't want to take a bus to any concert? It's just
a
like the
bus
pre-party.
a bus with a liquor license, by the way.
Holy shit. So it really is the pre-party to the
Yes, yeah.
pre-party, right?
We Gorge, they get us out there. The bus loads up at like 1:30 in the afternoon. We go out there. Part of the price, they set up an entire tailgate. They have designated cooks. They cook everybody, hot dogs and burgers and sides, and
Wow.
and then it's just community for a couple hours. The people who want to go get in line in the front of the pit, or are need to make sure they get the foil poster, they're free to go off and do whatever the hell they want.
Sure. Yeah.
But 75% of us hang out, or we go to Cave B, or and just enjoy each other's company. And that is
Yeah.
the way I will do Gorge every year until it's no longer a thing. So
Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. I'm
yeah,
again so glad that you brought that up because I wasn't aware of that. There
they
are
leave
so many
from
things when
Seattle
it
too.
comes to the gorge. Oh, they leave from Seattle.
Yeah, it leaves from Seattle, drops you off back in Seattle.
Holy shit, that's great because I mean, it
Yeah,
is a far, that was something that I don't think I was prepared for
yeah,
was the airport is like or Seattle is like
yeah,
2.5 hours
yeah,
from the gorge. So you got to think about that transportation there, but then also on the way back. And I will definitely say the way coming back is the worst part of
yeah.
it all because Sunday night, you've got like all this energy. It's the last show. You stay up and party because you know that you're going to have to say goodbye to everybody. And then Monday, they want you off the premises by like
Hmm.
noon.
Yeah,
And getting to Seattle again is 2.5 hours. So if you have a flight, you have to leave early. So that's just, it's
yeah,
kind of a nightmare on the way back, but it's great to have somebody that you're like, I just have to get on this bus and
yeah.
that's all I have to do.
Yeah, that is, and like I said, filled with amazing people. So just
Yeah, that's
yeah,
amazing. And you can kick a little hair of the dog, right? Because they
yeah,
have their
oh
liquor
yeah,
license.
yeah, oh yeah. We
The party's not stopping.
oh correct, yeah. We so this last year made some really awesome friends. My mother went with me. It was her
No
first.
way.
Yeah, she got into Dave a couple years ago, and really has fallen hard for it. But yeah, no, this last year I bought a one of those 18 packs or whatever of White Claws.
Uh-huh.
I guess I'm a basic bitch, whatever. And me and a guy traded, my buddy James. We traded. He had a little shot of whiskey, and he was like, "Can we trade a whiskey for a White Claw?" And
Yes.
you know and I hung out with him in Raleigh a couple weeks ago. So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. So
me and Jess Stiller, we did a road trip down to Raleigh, and we went and saw the DMB tribute cover band, and went to a hockey game as well with a whole bunch of people from the Gorge Bus Group. So,
I love Jess. She is just like she's
mhm,
a ray of sunshine. She really
really,
is. I really admire her and she's
mhm,
such a good person. Like
yeah,
her heart is good and that's rare in the world, but
mhm,
not rare in this community of fans around this band. And so let's talk more about like what the community looks like for you and how
sure,
it's grown over the years. How did you get connected with other fans? Because back in the 90s, there was not a
mhm,
Facebook. And even in the 2000s, I don't remember when Facebook came out, like 2009, maybe 2010. I don't
2000,
remember.
a little earlier than that. But
Maybe
yeah,
so. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I definitely never thought that I would be meeting family like DMB groups over Facebook, which
Right.
is what I have done the last couple of years. So in 20, I don't remember, yeah, late 2021. So I'm a single man, and there is the DMB Family Singles,
Oh, yes.
run by like Thomas Peluso and those folks.
Uh-huh.
And I started joining in for the Friday night Jackbox game night. Yeah, so every Friday night, there's a core group that we get on, and I haven't been as good about attending recently,
Uh-huh.
but I was like I wanted to, I was like, screw it, I'll take the dive and I'll join the group. And so we have there's a core group of there we have awkwardly enough rebranded ourselves as the Pineapple Slut Muffin Posse.
Oh, hey, I like that name.
Which has a very fun. I'll tell you the quick story on that with them. So I was at Deer Creek with my mother,
Mhm.
and I was wearing a shirt that had pineapples on it, upside down and right side up.
Yeah.
I didn't know the whole thing about the upside down pineapple. And this is like night 2 of 2021, I think. And this guy, like behind me, like taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Are y'all swinging?" And I was like, "This is my mother. Are you high?" you know.
Yeah.
And then I told the group chat about it, and they were like, "Oh, you didn't know."
Well, I
uh,
mean, you don't know until you know, and you had it all over you, right?
yeah,
With your mother.
yeah, with my mother. Yeah, I was like, "Well, this just got awkward."
Yeah.
So, but group jokes morph into things. So,
Yeah,
pineapples.
exactly. Now it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We even had Dave's vocal coach Rob. He live broadcasted on whatever he broadcast from on Gorge Night 1 with our group last year,
No
and he
way.
even he introduced us as the posse and all that sort of stuff, and hung out with us through a couple songs in the early part of the show in the lawn, and that was really cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's really cool.
But yeah, so I mean that's an awesome group of people that just I went to my first show with I think Thomas, Brittany, Michelle, and Amy. Was my first time to go to Blossom up near Cleveland.
Yes.
We met up, we went to that show, and then I think we even went to the next day we went to Cedar Point, which I don't know if you're a roller coaster enthusiast, but that's kind of a
Oh yeah,
that's
that's where like the biggest, right? Or the
that
fastest
is
or
the
something.
best. Yeah,
The best.
it's the best coaster park. Arguably, I'm sure somebody will disagree. They'll be
Of
like, "No,
course.
Fairy Farm" or whatever.
Yeah, it's your opinion. And
Yeah,
also I
yeah,
think it's facts.
yes, exactly. But we did that, and I was just like, man, I've found my people. And since then, I've seen that, met up with that gorge. I've had several of them stay in my house whenever they came in for Riverbend. I stayed with when I did Madison Square Garden in 2022. We stayed with Thomas, who lived in Queens, and
Yeah.
we Alpine in 22. We three of us got a room and stayed together, and just awesome group of people. So I mean,
Mhm.
between them and the Gorge Bus family, I have found my people, and
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly love them more if I tried. So
Right. It's amazing, like, and I say this time and time again, but the fans, the group of fans that we meet because of this music really often do become like lifelong friends. And it's more than surface relationships. It really is, we get to kind of know each other and we invest in each other's lives. And
mhm.
so I mean, I know that Ohio in general has a huge Dave Matthews Band family, like, and
Mhm.
even broke down into cities. I'm so impressed with Ohio because
Yeah,
there's a lot of Dave fans in Ohio.
I'm learning this, and that's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm envious because I know
mhm.
like 5 other people in my state that are
Yeah,
that are big fans, that have come out of the woods or whatever. I don't know. But Ohio, it just time and time again.
yeah,
But also they have some great venues, of course, Riverbend and
yep.
then Blossom. I went for the very first time and I want to say, oh yeah, right in front of me, I have a Blossom poster.
Okay,
I've only been once, but and
yeah.
it was 2021. Yeah. Yeah, 2021. That was an amazing, it's just such a beautiful venue.
It
And
is such a beautiful venue.
oh wow, I mean,
It
on the
makes
drive
you
out
feel like
there,
you're in a tiki hut, when you're in
it
this.
it is.
It's so cool. Yeah,
It's amazing. And then just the history behind that building, what it was built for, and the acoustics inside of that building, which you would
yeah.
just never guess that the acoustics are as good as they are in an outdoor pavilion, but it was built for like a symphony or orchestra or something along those lines. And so they really did take all of the, sound into consideration because it was such a big factor. And so it's been there for years and years, but it's still so beautiful, right? Like it's just a beautiful venue. So if you've never been, you just got to go. It's one of, I think it's a really important one to go to as far as Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah.
Because they don't go there every year. I wish they did. And I know a lot of people wish they did.
They're going this year, I believe.
Yes, they are. It's definitely one of those highlight venues. And simply just because I remember going out there and I was, it's all strange to me, but I remember thinking, this is where they're going to dump my body, because it's like forever around and around. It feels like in the middle of the woods, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're here, and you're like, wait, what?
It's in a state park or something. Like so
it's wild, but I love that venue, and so I'm excited that they're back there again this year. I know a lot of people are excited. So what does 2024 look like for you? Have you penciled in some things, or this year is wild.
Well, I'm cutting back this year. So I'm only doing 14 shows.
How hard that must be.
I know that's okay. So to put it in to give a little reference here. So something I've mentioned to you that I have not mentioned yet that I will share was so through the later part of the 2000s and through the 2010s, I was quite the heavy crystal meth addict. That is bad news bears. It doesn't leave you with a lot of your soul, and it doesn't leave you with a lot of money as well. But once I got away from that and realized that I was afraid when I kicked that habit, because for a lot of years I would definitely be very high when I was going to shows, and certainly thought that I was innately a fun person at them, but I definitely had help. And I was scared that when I got away from that, I was, my whole joy of shows wouldn't be there anymore. And, lucky for me, it was there all along, and, thank God, because I was genuinely terrified. I was like, this is, I'm going to lose, a huge part of the only thing for a lot of years that I ever genuinely enjoyed. But so, once I got away from that and got my life together, got, really good job, all that sort of fun stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm not blowing all of my money on drugs. I can travel.
Wow. Yes.
So I toyed in, in 2020, I was going to go to a bunch of shows, but obviously that didn't happen. But then in 2021, I'm having to do math here. So in 2021, I started really experimenting with it, and I went to 10 shows, and I was like, oh, this is freaking cool. And so I was like, and then I started meeting people, like the Pineapple Group and all that sort of stuff. Lo and behold, in 2022, I went to 21 shows.
Wow.
Including my first gorge and a few other, a lot of things like that. Last year, I ended up going to 18 shows. But I have this boy now and a house and all that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to be a responsible adult here.
Exactly. Now, we can totally edit this part out if this is something you don't want to talk about, or if it's not valid. But when you were trying to get away from drugs, was there part of the music, or was there part of the community that was helpful in doing that? Because I can't imagine that was an easy thing to do, because it had consumed so much of you.
Without a doubt, the hardest thing I've ever done was getting away from that.
Of course.
Moving really was a big part of that. That's one of the big reasons I moved from Texas to Ohio, is because it was like,
Took it
hey,
away.
this lifestyle's going to kill me.
Yes. Yes.
And, I had some great friends here who, Captain, settle down, who, I was able to get on my feet with and all that sort of stuff. I really hadn't gotten into the Dave community at that point.
Uh-huh.
I had some other friends. So I have a kind of an OG group that, we started in they're good drug using people and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I would meet with them, and we started going to Riverbend with the friends I moved in with in like 2018 is when I'm here. But we were meeting up like 7 or 8 of us every year, and we would go to the Riverbend show also. So that's now my SPAC group. We get an Airbnb, and we really have a good old time there. But that was really my community at that point. And so I didn't really dive into the Dave communities that I'm with now until after. And I think part of it was I had gotten to a point where I was respecting myself a lot more again. And I had, moving away from Texas where my best friend Scott, he and I over the years, we still, we get to, have a few where we would get out an Excel sheet and we would rank the entire DMB catalog, start to finish of our favorites.
I like that.
Oh, it's fun. So yeah. So for me right now, and for a couple years running, it's still, you never know at number 1, and that girl is you at number 150 something. So
I mean, I really feel like you need to email me the list just so I can look at it.
I would love
you have it.
Do I?
You're like, yes.
Yes.
I review it daily.
So if anybody, the way, everyone does it. The way we do it, actually, though, you get all the albums, you rank the albums one at a time, and then each album gets a different color coding, and then you put it in reverse order, and then you only look at all of the song. So it'll be like your least favorite song off each album is what you're looking at, and you go in reverse order. So you say, what is your least favorite one? You grab it, you move it to the next available cell, move the rest of them up. And so you're always comparing it. Maybe a negative way to look at it, but it's a methodology that has worked for us and served us well over the years. So
no, and I don't think there's a right or a wrong, and I don't think that it's bad to say, you know what, I don't really like that song. I feel like it's okay. Not all of it is going to be for everyone. And there are definitely going to be songs that speak more to you than others. Right. And so that is a way to kind of say, this one really does rank high. And this one, not that you don't like it, but it's just that it's not one of your top songs.
Correct. Yeah.
So I don't see that in a negative way at all.
Yeah. I will say though, anybody who doesn't like You Never Know, I'm not sure I respect that person as a Dave fan. So.
I think we should definitely have a debate. Like if you're listening to this and you don't like that song, I say email me and let's go head to head with Travis and be like, okay, let's talk it out.
I want to hear the reason why. And I think I sent you this. I even love that song. I paid a music analyst friend of mine to do it ended up being a 48-minute musical analysis of the song. It's up on YouTube, and it was very reaffirming to me because I was, I
think you did send that to me, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, I had never heard basically kind of like a non. I don't want to say like non-fan because I don't know if she's a fan, but
that's the thing. So she was I got into her because she did a whole series analyzing the Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails, and I was like. Her voice and her understanding and her way, because what she does is she connects your emotional response with the science behind the music and explains it all that way. And so when I got into her community through Discord and all that sort of stuff, and I approached her, I was like, hey, there's a song that's incredibly special to me, and I'm not expecting this to be a band you like or know, but listen to the song and let me know. And she was kind of like, holy shit, I would never have thought myself a Dave Matthews Band song, but I can do something for you on this.
Oh, wow. So
And
had
that's,
she ever heard it, or was she aware, or was this all
she's
new
never
to
heard
her?
You Never Know before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So that kind of makes the story more beautiful, though, is
Yes.
she had never heard it before, and
Yep.
so I think sometimes it is easier to break down something when you are completely like non-biased, right? Like you don't
Correct.
care whether
Hmm.
or not, whatever. And so, yeah, I thought it was interesting. And I actually shared that with another group, a DMB group of mine, and they
Yeah.
had seen it before. So I think that was a video that a lot of people really enjoyed how deep of a dive it kind of went into.
It has on YouTube. I think it has like 23,000 views or something like that, and that's almost 2/3 of Dave's fan base, right? So
Exactly, exactly.
yeah, if you it would be so if you search on YouTube, You Never Know musical analysis. It would be it'll be one of the first ones that comes up, and the author it'll be by Ixie Music IXI. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Definitely check it out. I think it's worth a listen to. I mean, again, like I think
Yeah.
it's really cool from an outside perspective to look into a song and go, here's what I see.
It's
Even it,
super validating whenever you hear someone who even and I was doing like private ear training lessons with her as well, just to like help me you know pick back up on a lot of the musical skills that I had kind of let go over the years.
yeah.
And we would actually as we had like a 45-minute session each month, and we started listening to Before These Crowded Streets and breaking down stuff in that during
How
those lessons and
fun,
all that.
right?
And
Like, yeah.
it was so cool to hear another, a non-biased person just really, really digging, stuff. I mean, to this day, she definitely doesn't love the band and all that, but she has an insane respect for their musical abilities, and especially Carter. My God. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think
yeah,
it was just validation of your feelings and thoughts, but
yeah,
also like that you're right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I, I
You're
felt
right.
I felt validated, seen, all whatever you want to say.
All the things, right? But like it is nice to hear someone that is not a fan or is not aware or whatever their case may be go, you know what?
Yeah,
That is
they're
really,
on to
really
something.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
just to I think for anyone that knows anything about music or instruments in general, they could just watch them for the first time, just simply watching them
Yeah,
and hearing them, obviously, and to go, oh, okay, yeah, it's not
yeah,
for me, but like they are talented in what they do, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, it's amazing.
yeah,
Well, I cannot thank you enough for, sharing your story. Every time I hear a new story, it's wild to me because we're all listening to the exact same thing, but we've all gotten to it. We've all found it in different ways, and it's all done different things for us, right? Like it's all doing the same thing to all of us. Like we're listening to it, we're digesting it, but we all pull different things from it. You could pull some positive words or some affirmations or whatever, some goals like, oh, this is what I
yeah,
should be aspiring to do. It's amazing how many different things I hear that this band has done to 35,000 people,
yep,
right?
exactly.
So, I really do hope that we have this band for a long time. But again, if we don't have them for many more years, we do always have the music. And that's something that really does comfort me
Yeah,
is knowing that it really can never be taken away from us. It's
yeah,
something that will hold near and dear to for so long because it is so much of who we are and has been there at times where we could never forget, and you've talked about some of that, just whether it was leaving something that was best for you to leave, and I'm sure that there are songs that you hear now,
hmm,
songs that that you hear and you go, oh shit, like I've
hmm.
heard that but I never really heard that, right?
That happens to me every couple of years. I mean, so You Never Know has been my favorite song for, a lot of years now. But I mean, I've gone through wild swings with songs where I'm like, this one just, it hit me at the right time. Like
Mm-hmm.
for a number of years, then this is going to sound wild, but Proudest Monkey was up top for me. And I still think to this day that is one of their best studio efforts. Just listening to that, it feels like waves crashing all over you, the way it builds and the way it
Yeah.
just the climax in it and everything just it I mean, and it has since dropped Lying in the Hands of God is one that I have just, have had quite the affair with. But I mean,
yes,
it's amazing how, songs that have been around for such a long time. You still, I didn't pick up on, I didn't really fall in love with Typical Situation until probably 4 or 5 years ago. And then I was like,
wow.
holy shit, what's been wrong with me? Well, obviously a lot of things were wrong with me, but,
Well,
but
all of us.
yeah, but just it's amazing how, to this day, I mean, pay for what you get. I never really thought much of the song, and then I heard it for my first time. It's back in 22 or 20, yeah, in 22, and I was like, man, where have I been on this one?
Right. I think that song highlights the horns so well. Like when I think of that song and I close my eyes, that's the first thing I hear. And that's, yeah, I don't know. It's
so
are you
sweet. So,
yeah, it's amazing. I'm such a stage left person. Like I love Buddy. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm a stage all over the place. Like I want to be all over all of it. But like
the best of this. So yeah.
I just really enjoy watching Rashawn and Jeff. Like
yeah.
I think that they're fun to watch, but I think they're such powerhouses. And a lot of times in the songs, you can just hear them so well, even if you're not on that side. Like they just really are such a strong voice of the band, especially when Dave's not singing and it's just the music going on. Like they stick out to me. But then, of course, Buddy evens it out. Like we got two guys over here, but we only need one guy on this side, even though Tim's kind of in the back. But like we've got one guy because he's so strong on that side. He doesn't need anybody else over there helping him. Like he's holding down the whole side over there. He's so much fun to watch, and we're so lucky. And 33 years, it's unbelievable. Even just saying that, just like really, how is this possible?
One of my favorite memes I've seen over the last couple of years is, if you're having it says like, something like, if you're having a down day, just think the earth is billions of years old and you're alive when the Dave Matthews Band is active. So
how lucky are we, right? Like how
we
lucky
are
we?
So damn lucky.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think every generation has that band. I think for our parents, it was the Beatles, right? Because they're just something that even though they really in the span of bands were not a band for that long. I mean, they did not get 33 years, that's for sure. But they were just a band that like everyone still knows about. And I hope I hope that the Dave Matthews Band always has a place in history. I know that, it will always be part of my history, but I think that's, again, so much of what I'm doing with this podcast is just trying to make sure that there's documentation out there forever that will be like, oh, hey, you know what? I found this. And did you know that there were like 35 years of a band and these people lost their minds for 35 years over this band. Like I want that to be a story that's told just like the Beatles, just like Elvis Presley, just like some of the people that we've all heard of that came before them that have paved the way. Right. And so every generation has their band, but this is definitely the band for us. And of course, I know you have others. We all do, right? Like we're not all listening to the Dave Matthews Band all of the time.
Honestly, outside of, just because I go see him so much nowadays, I honestly don't really listen to Dave outside.
So what do you listen to now? I know we know you like Nine Inch Nails, and so like what are you listening to now?
So a band that I've loved for quite a while as well, Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, I never heard of them.
Oh, yes, you have.
Okay.
Okay, I guarantee if you listen to the song "No One Knows," you'll recognize it.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Absolutely guarantee it. But I've been hooked on them for quite a while. I listen to a lot of more like kind of progressive metal stuff as well.
Yeah.
I love Between the Buried and Me. I was a big fan of the Dillinger Escape Plan when they were around. But I mean, I do kind of gravitate towards a lot of 90s rock. Like last year I went and saw Live.
Ooh, yeah.
With Fuel, and oh god, they were
right.
Yeah.
Man.
In Candlebox was
holy shit, yes.
They played their debut album in its entirety. It was just right.
Wow,
that is the correct reaction. Yes.
Wow, I love that. I mean, because you don't hear a lot of bands doing that more now, but I want to say like Alanis Morissette did like a tour where she just did like cover, or basically the whole album from start to ending, and people just lost their shit on that because
either last year or the year before I saw her for the first time with Garbage.
Oh God, yes. Another one of my favorite from the 90s.
Yeah. I saw Matchbox 20 last year.
Oh, so did I. Did that not
Yeah,
change your life? Like
they
I
were so good.
love, I love them.
Yes.
And oh, it was like they'd
Yeah.
never even left my head because when I think of Matchbox 20, I think of college. I think of,
Yeah.
the early 2000s and the late 90s. And I love that band. And funny story about Matchbox 20.
Okay.
I did get to see them for the first time last year. But I have had two other opportunities to see them. Two other times I've had tickets to see them. And let
Yeah.
me tell you about those dates because they're kind of historical. First
Okay.
one, 9/11/2001. I
Ooh,
had tickets for Matchbox 20. That did not happen, obviously.
I
Okay.
believe that. Yeah.
Okay. The next time I got tickets, opportunities to see them, was the year 2020. Guess who
Ugh.
did not get to see the band? That would be
They
me
didn't.
because of
Yeah.
a pandemic. So as I sign up for the third time to see Matchbox 20, I was like, do I really want to do this? Because
Yeah.
here's what's happened the last couple of times. I
Yeah.
feel like it's not meant to be, right? But I got
Maybe
to
you're
see
pleased.
them
Yeah.
and it was an emotional concert for me because it had taken me so many years to get there, but also it, like, if I closed my eyes, it took me, like, it was a time machine, right? Like it took me
Yeah.
back to some moments that I had otherwise forgotten, right? And so it would, and plus they're just really good, just really,
Oh yeah.
really talented to this day, which blows my mind. But I mean, and also it doesn't, I mean, I don't know. I think that they were a great band. I think they still are. And yeah, it was
Well,
a
their
big
new
part of who I
album
am.
was. I thought their new album for a band that's been around as long as they are. I thought their new album was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
But there
I
were
love them.
so many songs that when I saw Matchbox that I had forgotten were by them. Like Long Day. Oh, I forgot, I forgot about Long Day. I forgot about Bent.
Yeah.
Stuff
Oh,
like that. And then
yeah.
my favorite moment of the entire show, though, closing with Bright Lights. Oh,
Mm.
Bright
Hmm.
Lights, one of the primo
I
songs.
can't remember what song he sang, but what I do remember is that it was a quicker beat song, like it was faster, but when he sang it this time, he slowed it
Uh,
way down. And I was like, whoa, whoa,
there
whoa,
was
it changed everything.
one song they did where it was just an acoustic guitar and him singing, and what was that? Because that almost brought me to freaking tears.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it when, and that, that it's just funny that we like geek out and you'd be like, "Oh my God, you'll never guess what he did with that song." But that's literally what we're getting at every Dave
Yeah.
Matthews Band concert. Is
Yeah.
everything, right? We're getting all of those things that we go cuckoo about at any show, and oh my God, can you believe this happened? It's unheard of. But
I mean,
also,
I'm so glad that my first time seeing Spoon, I've only seen it the one time ever, but it was at Gorge this year, last year. It's 2024.
I know we all
it,
say it.
yeah, at Gorge last year when they had the violin and they had what's her name singing with them as well and all that. I was
Molly
like,
Tuttle, was that Molly?
Yes, yes. I
Yes.
was like, this is how I was meant to see Spoon for the first time.
Yeah.
So,
Really, really good.
yeah.
Really. Wait, 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 wait. Was it Molly Tuttle? Because wasn't she the one that did Long Black Veil? I don't
No, that was
remember. Or did
Sierra Farrell.
okay, yes, yes, yes. I mean, there was a lot of magical
There's a
things
lot
that
of
happened
guests.
at the Gorge.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
amazing. It was amazing. But
it
yeah,
really
it's
was.
wild. Let's see. What am I listening to? Okay. I'm gonna go completely different than you because
Okay, that's fair.
yeah, but I think this is a popular opinion right now. Like, I'm sorry, but Taylor Swift is slaying right now. Like, I love her. I'm a big Swiftie. And I know, like, whatever, but I love her. I think she's a musical genius. I think she's a
So
poet. I
I
love
have
her.
a thing I'll say, and you can be angry at me for this.
It's okay.
I don't hate everything she does. I do wish that. Oh, I'll stop there.
No, it's fine. No, because you know
She
what? I'm
has
gonna guess everyone has your opinion.
I don't know. I don't find her interesting, but she has one song that I think is an absolute banger, and I will play this on Touch Tunes wherever I go, and people are like, "Oh, this is the song by her you like? Why?"
What is it?
Picture to Burn. Song's an absolute
Okay, yeah.
banger. I
I
love
mean,
that song. I
what
think
I
it's
don't like about, I mean, I kind of wish that she would redo it just because at that point she was so country, right? Like I can hear that in my head. It's just another picture to burn. Like, and it's not the way she sounds now, right? But like,
yeah,
I do like the
absolutely not.
song.
Yeah. That to me feels super raw, and I mean, maybe it was an act, but like that feels like raw and a little just more raw. Yeah, I'm not a huge country music fan, but that song is it, as the kids say, it slaps.
So, it slaps. Look how cool you
slaps.
are saying all these 2024 words.
I work with I have a couple people that work with me who are in their 20s, and so I learned things like saying, "Hey, that's straight fire," or
"Ooh,
that's
bussin'."
Yeah, bussin'. Yeah,
yeah. And you get called Jit a lot. I don't know if anybody calls you Jit. Oh my God, Jit, bruh. Like I don't even know what my name is anymore.
Oh, okay,
bruh.
Like, don't call me bruh. Like, no, the BRUH thing, especially when they say it like every 3 seconds, I'm like, bruh, get off my lawn. Yeah.
I feel so stupid these days because like my son will say, that's just kind of mid. And I'm like, are you through like with the sentence? Like midway, mid, what? And he's just like, it's just mid. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Mid is not a noun anymore. Apparently it's a noun. So
it's so hard, but I mean, again, this happens in every generation. Like our parents were saying groovy and we were saying dude, which I also still say, but like
we say dude all the time.
It will forever be a word in my vocabulary. So, that's part of it.
I never picked up on that's bad. I was like,
that's bad.
Because bad became synonymous with being cool.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you remember when fat was cool to say, but like PHAT?
Pretty hot and tempting. Oh, yeah.
Fat.
Yeah.
Fat. I mean, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I need a class every year to be like, okay, what am I supposed to say and what can I not say anymore? Right? Like, I don't know anymore.
It's a minefield. Be careful. Yeah.
But dude, I can't. Dude, well, dude. Bruh. Jit, whoever, whatever. I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing. Yeah. I want to sound super 2024.
Apparently that's saying that your clothes are straight fire or something like that.
Ooh. Yeah. Yes. So. Well, your shirt is straight fire because it is the Dave Matthews Band shirt. And it is a fire dancer. So it is straight fire.
Ooh, dancer. I like the connection there. Well done.
so weird, but yeah, dude, bruh, Jit, thank you for being on my show and sharing your story. Pleasure. I mean, this is such. I have like the coolest hobby of just connecting with people and seeing what in the world, how in the world, and why in the world. Right? Like I love every bit of this. And so thank you for just filling my heart again with just another story of what an impact music can make on people's lives. And people don't want to give music enough credit. A lot of people want to go, all that people want to do is just have those earbuds in their ear and just escape. And I'm like, first of all, what's the matter with that? Because I can't, I need to escape like 10 times a day. If there's nothing wrong, but like, I think people should give music more credit on how much it really can help, how much it does help, how many lives it's saved. And I mean that in the most literal form. So, I just thank you for sharing your story. I know that a lot of people will listen to this and identify with it. So thank you for being open and just sharing how you found this band and what it's done for you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, if you are listening to this on a podcast app, just know that you can watch this on YouTube. And so it's just simply under the Space Between podcast. But if you want to see who we have upcoming on the show, be sure to stay tuned on all the socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of the things, because we are straight fire dancers here. And I'm on all the socials like Bra and Jit. So definitely follow, like, and subscribe, guys. Does that totally 2024? I don't know. It sounded like my daughter. Like, subscribe, and comment below.
It helps the channel a lot.
Yes. Oh my God. Travis, dude, thank you so much. And guys, be sure to stay tuned. Every week we have a new fan on to talk about their journey with this band that's been keeping us company for 33 years. So in the meantime, guys, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band. Thank you, Travis.
Right. Thank you.